Yeah, the middleweight champion Carlos Monzon, who is recognized by both the WBA and the WBC, will take on Rodrigo Valdez. That's coming up on Saturday over in Monte Carlo. You see Bennie Briscoe, what an incredible record. Been on the scene, I think, since 1962. 15 years of fighting professionally here in Philadelphia. A record of 57 victories, 14 losses, and 6 draws.
They just had Mike Rossman in the ring as they introduced him to the Spectrum crowd here. Known as the Jewish Bomber. He was a up-and-coming light heavyweight.
From out of Turnersville, New Jersey. And Sammy Barr, getting back to records, Barr with 16 wins, 12 losses, and 1 draw, but 10 of his 16 victories have been via the knockout. Briscoe, 48 KOs out of 57.
And if you take a good shot of Bennie Briscoe's trunks, he looks like a walking billboard. He's got so much stuff sewn on there.
Looks like one of those Indianapolis race cars, Bobby, that go in the championship series. You can't see the number for all the emblems and logos.
Sammy Barr.
You hear Sammy Barr being introduced.
And the opponent from out of town, 106 to 2.5. Red trunks, Bennie Briscoe.
Of course, that's no surprise, a rousing cheer from the Spectrum fans here. Bennie, the hometown favorite. He weighed in at 162.5. Sammy Barr weighed in at 159.25. What a record Bennie Briscoe has. 57 wins, 14 losses, and 6 draws, along with 48 KOs.
And a ring shot for local press photographers and also for boxing magazines. Middleweight bout that's scheduled to go 10 rounds. We will then have an intermission, and I am rather confident, I think, that we won't have a full 10 rounds, Bobby.
Talking around just before the fight to a lot of the people here in the fight game, they really think that this is going to be a very quick fight, that Briscoe, of course, emerged the victor, but stranger things have happened. Bennie might have been heard some of that talk too, and he just might be a little bit overconfident, but I can't see it because he needs this fight. He wants a shot at that world title. He's getting up there in age. He's 34 years old, and he won't get too many. He has that one shot, and that should be it, really.
One thing for sure, he can look for the balding pate of Bennie Briscoe to come pouring in on Sammy Barr.
Both fighters have the scarlet trunks, but Sammy Barr's got the white stripe down the side, and Bennie Briscoe has every billboard from here to Allentown on his trunks.
Back on May 26, in Barr's last bout, he was knocked out by Edgar Ross in the 9th round. That bout took place in Tampa, Florida. Briscoe going to the body, as we know he can do extremely well.
Oh, the first half of the round, anyway, Sammy Barr showed the most action, but Bennie Briscoe caught him with a left hook, and then after that, he tried to cover up a little bit.
Barr is in for a tough night here. I remember the bout on August 16th, our first shot against Demetrio Villanueva. Very similar to this. Villanueva with a good heart kept moving away, but Briscoe, it's like a dog. Smells the blood of an animal, just keeps going after it, A minute to go in round 1.
Sammy Barr is no easy match. He's been in the ring with some pretty impressive fighters. A lot of world contenders. Among those, Carlos Marx, Marcello Leonese, Irish Gene Wells, and of course Edgar Mad Dog Ross. And he also has been in there, Elisha Obit, and he fought him to a draw in Nassau. So he's no slouch. Shai Obit, of course, was former world junior middleweight champion. And when you're fighting that class of fighter, or even in the ring with that guy, you're gonna have to have something.
Well, that's the end of round one, and obviously a Bennie Briscoe round.
Started slow, but came on in the latter half. Sammy Barr had much of the activity in the first minute, but like I said, a left hook caught Barr, and then he seemed to go into a cocoon a little bit, and Bennie came right on then and took over.
You see Georgie Benton instructing Bennie Briscoe, as Briscoe has decided he doesn't even need to sit down.
No, he doesn't
like
think
working
it's
on the heavy bag.
There's that old, so familiar bald head of Bennie Briscoe.
Briscoe weighed in at 161 for this bout, and Barr at 159 1/4. Bob indicated he fought Elisha Obed of the Bahamas, who is fourth-ranked junior middleweight. Junior middleweight weight limit is 154, and as I see Barr, Bob, certainly he could probably make that weight with no problem at all.
No, he looks rather lean, doesn't he?
Yeah, he is a very, very lean middleweight.
16-12-1 record, 10 KO, so he does have some punching power. Bennie Briscoe, of course, everybody knows has punching power. He's got 48 knockouts and has had a lot of fights. It's hard to imagine, you know, that this all started for Briscoe way back in 1962. It was his first fight, and you would by any chance happen to know who he beat?
Oh, I don't.
Sam Samuel.
Good old Sam.
Yeah, I don't think he's a very well-known or household word, but that was the first pro fight for Bennie Briscoe, and it ended in a knockout in the 4th round. So, or rather, he decisioned him in 4. I'm sorry. That's a long time ago.
You can hear that leather snapping the ring microphone.
Oh, there's a good left jab by Briscoe. Good left-right combination that had his Barr's head snapping back.
What a hook by Barr, and Briscoe just stands flat-footed and didn't even move back at all. He's got to be totally frustrated.
Condition has to be a factor here in this fight with Bennie Briscoe against Sammy Barr, coming off that.
Oh, Barr's in heavy trouble with that right cross from Bennie Briscoe.
Oh.
Oh, wincing and slipping against the ropes. Those 2, 3, 4 vicious rights. Briscoe just stands there, takes his best shot. 30 seconds to go in round 2.
Well, it's a good right by Sammy Barr there on Briscoe.
You can see how much damage it did, Bobby. Bennie is right there. What a vicious body puncher is Bennie Briscoe. Well, old school, take forward, unload that one good shot.
That one good shot is something.
That's it. That's the end of round 2. Bennie Briscoe, after being sidelined with appendicitis back on May 23rd, had been scheduled to fight Willie Warren that evening, but first time that he's been able to lace the gloves up.
Let's take a look at that punch again as we pick it up. There it is. Misses with a glancing left jab. Good right uppercut. Left. Forces that left through. There's the right there. That shows some of the power that Bennie Briscoe has in those punches. And That's enabled him to amass a whopping total of 48 knockouts in his 57 victories. And the last time Bennie Briscoe has lost a fight was 1974, when Emil Griffin decisioned him in a 10-rounder in New York. But that's quite a while ago, and he's been victorious ever since in all the bouts that he's had.
A lot of people thought it was the end of the line for Bennie Briscoe, but then moved under the tutelage of Georgie Benton and certainly revived his slipping career at the time. Well, what a tactical fight that Barr has to fight here. It's pretty difficult to establish some sort of game plan.
I think the big thing is to try and stay away as much as possible, you know, just jab and run, and try and stay away as much as possible from Briscoe.
Well, you can see Bennie try to tee up that right hook.
Ooh, that's one thing that Barr just can't afford to do too often in this fight, is let Bennie Briscoe get him up against the ropes and not get anywhere to go, because his powerful punches will really take its toll.
Bennie, really a ring master at cutting down the ring on all his fighters.
Briscoe going to the body early to soften up Barr. I'll bring that guard down so he can connect. Upstairs. Barr's got 10 KOs, but he's also been KO'd 6 times in his career out of the 12 losses he's suffered, so he's a little bit susceptible to that 10 count. Come on, Bennie!
Oh, left and right to the body by Bennie Briscoe. Missed with that uppercut there. Very, very similar, Bob, to that August 16th bout last year with Villanueva. Did the same thing, just wore him down, and finally his arms weary.
He cut Villanueva very badly, too, if I remember correctly, on that fight. Bennie Briscoe tuning up for a world champion shot, world title shot.
Oh, uppercut by Sammy Barr to the chin of Bennie Briscoe.
Good left jab.
That's it. That's the end of round 3. Barr not very happy at all at that punch that Briscoe got in just at the bell.
A lot of action over in the corner.
Bennie Briscoe, Bob,
Sammy Barr,
as we know, is ranked number 2 by both rating services, the World Boxing Association and the World Boxing Council. Rodrigo Valdez is ranked number 1 by the World Boxing Association, and he meets Carlos Monzon on the 30th of this month, while the Valdez is also ranked number 1 by the WBC. This is one of the few cases where the champion, the number 1 contender and 2 contender, recognized by both the WBA and the WBC. I noticed a slight cut to the left eye of Sammy Barr as we prepare for round 4.
And Bennie starting right off, cutting down that ring, trying to get Barr up against the ropes where he can do the most damage. What an unusual style Briscoe has. You know, that head down, plotting straight ahead. He's been really going to work on the kidneys of Sammy Barr.
I guess the strategy for Barr, Bob, is just to throw that one roundhouse shot and hope it clicks.
I think so. Briscoe's been using his left jab pretty good this first 3 rounds. A lot more than we've seen him in the past. At least he's scoring more with it. He really likes to open up the body and come through that good shot. But that left jab has been coming through pretty good in the first 3 rounds.
The hook very, very effective here.
Looks like he's cut on the right eye also, Hugh, a little bit. Some swelling on it.
Roundhouse that Barr threw didn't even phase Bennie Briscoe.
You know, it's interesting, you mentioned George Benton, his trainer, and he hasn't lost since Ben took over as trainer for him. He fought him and beat him. It's kind of unusual, you know, where one of your ex-opponents has come back to train you.
I'm going to sit down at great middleweights.
Oh, there was a good right to the heart by Bennie Briscoe.
Less than 20 seconds to go in round 4.
You get a good shot, you can see that right eye of Sammy Barr. It's not cut very badly, but it's starting to swell somewhat.
Again, Briscoe getting a little dinger at the bell. In 1977, 3 bouts for Sammy Barr. He, on May 26, his last bout was knocked out of 9 by Edgar Ross in Tampa. And on March 11, another loss in 10 rounds went the route against Milton Owens in Orlando. And he did win once this year against Walter Newell in Nassau, whom he KO'd in 4 rounds. Certainly no household names or any of those even ranked in the top 25 in the middleweight class. Really has his hands full in Bennie Briscoe tonight.
We've got some great Philly games coming your way on Prism in the month of August. And of course, Friday night we're going to have San Francisco in town, but on the 3rd, San Diego's here. The 5th, Los Angeles, 5th and 6th, 11th, Montreal, the 20th, Houston, and the 31st, Atlanta comes to town.
Ooh. Good left jab by Bennie Briscoe to the chin of Sammy Barr. Round 5. Oh, vicious right hook.
He's going to work on him. You can get a good shot of that right eye of Sammy Barr. It's starting to swell up a little more noticeable now, and you can see a little bit of the blood too. They're right over his snout.
Briscoe going to the hook, uppercut, jab. I didn't know what to do.
Briscoe himself has a little bit of swelling under his left eye, but it's not cut at all like Sammy Barr. Briscoe just forcing those punches through the peekaboo defense of Sammy Barr. Ooh, you can hear those shots to the kidneys.
Well, one thing we don't know, Bob, whether or not Briscoe can go 10 rounds after suffering appendectomy operation.
Oh, 2 good shots to the body. That really hurt Sammy Barr. You can just see it. As you say, Hugh, that operation has to weigh something on the condition of Bennie, but he's piling up the points early in case he does get a little tired in the latter rounds.
I think Briscoe, despite being sidelined for essentially a relatively short period of time, hasn't lost any sting on his punches.
No.
Barr will attest to that, I'm sure.
You know, I'm amazed that Barr hasn't really tried to go to Benny's body, knowing that he did have that major operation, which I'm sure he does, but he hasn't really tried to go to the body at all to see just how strong he is. Of course, Briscoe is just got a drummer's tune on the kidneys of Sammy Barr.
Well, it's rare in boxing where you see a fighter throw a hook and the other boxer moves 6 inches. Whatever the shot comes from, the left or the right-hand side. Coming to the end of round 5. Good uppercut by Briscoe, backs away Sammy Barr.
I don't know what Sammy Barr is just saying to Bennie Briscoe, hey, you haven't done anything to me, and he's been trying to make faces. I don't think it's because Briscoe got in anything at the end of the round. I think he's just trying to do a little psychology or maybe a little ring showmanship. But
well, we capture all the exciting things here on Prism.
There it is. You can see Bennie Briscoe going to work on the kidneys of Sammy Barr. He's got a good left-right combination to the head.
Then we're going to see that.
Then we'll see that little
grimace.
There it is, right there. You can see him falling right after him. A little showmanship on the part of Sammy Barr.
Round 6 of the scheduled 10-rounder as we approach the 9:53 mark here on the Spectrum clock, live on a Tuesday evening. Spectrum Boxing, Hugh Gannon along with Bobby Taylor.
I tell you, round number 6, and Benny looks just as fresh as he did in the opening bell.
Well, he appears as if he were on a bicycle, Bob.
Yeah.
High on his toes, looking left jab.
I know one guy is going to have an awful lot of trouble bending over in the morning. That's Sammy Barr. His kidneys have taken an awful lot of pounding in 6 rounds.
Briscoe gets 2 good jabs into the head of Sammy Barr.
The last fight Bennie Briscoe had here in Philadelphia, we had, of course, here on Prism. Now is against another middleweight, Carl Vinson. That went the distance, 10 rounds, and it was a very good fight because both of them fought the same style.
Well, you've got to give Barr A for effort. He could have called it quits and packed it in from the very first round when Bennie Briscoe went to work on his body, but now, with less than a minute to go, they're still on his feet in round 6.
Jab and run, jab and run. That's what he's going to have to do to try and stay away from Briscoe and try to get back in points anyway in the eyes of the judges. He just stands there toe-to-toe and forehead to forehead with Bennie Briscoe. He's going to come out on the short end of the stick.
No question about that one.
He true. 5 punches there. Not one of them landed on Bennie Briscoe.
That's it.
His right eye's almost closed now. Sammy Barr's right eye, that is. If we can get a good shot of it, as you see the corner work him over.
Our next bout is the main event. There seems to be some question about whether or not we will have an intermission, as all the fights so far tonight, a 4-rounder, 6-rounder, 10-round heavyweight bout, which we did show here on Prism. Marty Monroe winning over Joe Golston went the limit. And we are progressing almost to the limit here on this scheduled 10-round middleweight bout between Bennie Briscoe and Sammy Barr.
You know, maybe that hospital stay took some of the zing out of Bennie's punches, but Sammy Barr is hanging in there very well right now, or at least in the first 6 rounds. But Bennie Briscoe, it took him 10 rounds in his last fight, which happened in March 31st over in Paris, when he KO'd Jean Mateo in the round 10. So will it go 10 now before he KOs, or will he go 10 for the decision, or can he end it earlier?
No question about what would happen if Bennie Briscoe were to be upset here by Sammy Barr. Could very well bring down the curtain, and sort of a Don Quixote fashion, I guess, of Bennie Briscoe, the impossible dream, chasing the world middleweight championship title. Seems to be some question as whether or not Carlos Monzon, even if he does win against Rodrigo Valdez, some report that he may retire, and we don't know what would happen there.
Of course, Briscoe's fought Monzon twice before. Back in '67, he beat him. He won a decision in the 10-round decision, rather, and then he had the world title fight against him in '72, and he lost that. So Monzon's no stranger to Bennie Briscoe. If he does get that title shot after this fight, it should be the rubber.
When did he fight him the first time? About
1967 he fought him, and Briscoe won a decision, a 10-round decision.
10 years ago. Well, we saw Joe Golston somehow manage to survive 10 rounds. I don't know whether or not we'll be able to see Sammy Barr go the route.
He's awful tired right now. His legs aren't too solid. They seem to be a little bit rubbery. And then he can land that one real solid punch. I think he could go down.
Briscoe with Sammy Barr in Briscoe's corner. Even when Barr does throw the uppercut, Briscoe just backs up about 3 inches and then comes in again.
Going to work on that body. There he got a good left uppercut through the peekaboo guard.
Directly above our Prism microphones as Barr tries to turn around. It's kind of a weird move here as Briscoe is punching away, and an uppercut and a good solid jab by Sammy Barr.
So that left hook kind of knocked him off his stride.
Incredible boxing prowess. Bennie Briscoe. That's it. That's the end of round 7.
And where is that cocky sneer by Sammy Barr that time? Joe Golston in the fight previous took a devastating amount of punishment to his mouth and his eye by a left jab of Marty Monroe. Now in this fight, Sammy Barr's taken an awful lot of punishment to his kidneys by the right hooks and left hooks of Bennie Briscoe. There you see him when Briscoe had him caught in the corner and would just seem to be punching away. There he goes. Right and left hooks to the kidneys of Sammy Barr. Got a few good left uppercuts and right uppercuts through to Sammy Barr, and Sammy Barr, I think what has happened is that, yes, Sammy Barr's corner just thrown in. He has not answered the bell for round number 8.
You see referee Tommy Reed holding up a hand of Bennie Briscoe.
And the crowd is giving Bennie a standing ovation. Sammy Barr did not answer the bell. He said, I've had enough. The punishment is too great. And that ends the fight, and now for Bennie Briscoe, hopefully on to Carlos Monzon.
Well, if Briscoe now wins his 58th pro bout, that will be recorded as an 8-round KO, as Sammy Barr put up the game go, but just couldn't handle it for another 3 more rounds. Well, we were talking about the fact that none of our bouts so far tonight have gone or have been shortened due to the a knockout, and this one finally